There's a concept often taught in Christianity that says storing up treasures in heaven. And I don't know why I thought of this one as a topic to make a video upon, but when I came up with it, I decided to find out what is currently taught or has been taught over the decades. And I'd like to say predominantly, but that isn't an accurate statement. It's actually entirely taught incorrectly, or the concept has been so putrefied, so hideously perverted that there's no way to understand what Jesus was even teaching when he said storing up treasures in heaven. I went so far as to look at videos from Christian teachers 40 years ago just to see if, well, is it really that perverted today only because we live in a time when everything is perverted? But nope. 40 years ago, it was taught incorrectly. I think the worst one was how they were talking about how you store up treasures in heaven by working your butt off here and earning as much money as you possibly can, and donating that money to the church, and in so doing, when you die, that money is basically converted to a spiritual money to be used in heaven. And quite incidentally, that money that you donate goes into the hands of the preachers who, in this world, teach that perverted lesson. Is there any truth in that statement? Well, yeah, in a certain way. Donating your money to a cause could be understood to store up treasures in heaven, but certainly not the way that it's taught, and certainly not the way that it's understood. I was actually shocked to once again to realize that I'm like the Lone Ranger. It's like it's kind of sad actually being in my shoes to realize that everything is so perverted, so horribly taught the wrong way, so much so that I'm often feeling like I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to make these videos. I just want to work in my shop building furniture. And when I say building furniture, it's like a Zen thing for me. It's like incredibly beautiful woodwork. And I do welding for the legs and stuff like that. And I guarantee you, I will make a video of some of the work that I do. Maybe in the next video or the video after this, that one, I'm not sure. But I will show you what I do. And it won't be just pictures. I'll show a video of it. But like I said, it's sort of like a Zen thing. And in a way that kind of segues into the treasures in heaven. what I do in my shop, and what I do in everything I do, is storing up treasures in heaven, but in a way that is not understood by the world, per se. Maybe some of you understand what I'm talking about. Maybe you understand what the treasures in heaven are. Let me define treasures in heaven. God does not give you treasures in heaven. God doesn't give you anything in heaven. 100% of everything you get in heaven is self-made by the individual themselves. God doesn't make you a good person. You make yourself a good person. God doesn't make you a hateful, evil person. You make yourself a hateful, evil person. And in regards to the concept of heaven, there is no such thing as heaven, and there is no such thing as hell. But that doesn't mean that there is no eternal place for your awareness to exist. It would be easier understood if instead of thinking, well, there's no such thing as heaven, it would be easier to think the opposite. There's no such thing as here. There's no such thing as this reality. This doesn't exist. It's an illusion. What is real is Brahman, sunyata, total darkness, the light/love of God. Those are the things that are eternal. But they exist within the nothingness of Brahman. But in the nothingness of Brahman, through your awareness, you create heaven. No different than you create your imagination. No different than you can daydream, for instance. Rather than saying, well, a dream at night, I didn't do it, it just happened. You could say that. But you couldn't say that about daydreaming. You couldn't say that about sitting here right now, not being asleep, not being unconscious, but sitting here right now and doing a type of daydream. Not even a meditation where you lose yourself, but being totally conscious of your surroundings and reality. And at the same time, imagining something that isn't real. You can imagine, people do this all the time. They play the lottery and let's say there's $1 billion to be won at the lottery. Well, people can imagine what life would be like if they won the lottery. Now, it isn't real, or at least it isn't real until they actually do win the lottery, but they can imagine a reality. And it's imagined. And they can sit there and reminisce about it in almost like a zenful daydreaming. Imagine what it's like. They're creating a reality out of nothingness. And if you fall back into that imagination and kind of close your eyes, you're still aware that you're a human being. You're still aware that If the doorbell rings, you're shocked out of your daydream, but you can daydream the fun and the joy and all these things, and you're thinking about it, and you're creating this reality. That's precisely how reality is created from the nothingness of Brahman, the awareness of what you are. You have created yourself within the awareness of Brahma, God. And when your awareness and when yourself being capable of the love and compassion of Brahma, if you can get to that level and become one with God, then your imagined reality from within Brahman aligns with that of Brahma and Christ. And since time is not a factor, this can go on forever. And according to ancient Hinduism, it can go on for the life of Brahma, which they surmise is 311 trillion years. Before Brahma decides he's 100 years old in God years and it's time to die. But no different than your death here in reincarnation. The life of Brahma goes on for all eternity, reincarnating. But you're with Brahma when your love and compassion aligns with Brahma, within Brahman. Because you can never escape the nothingness of Brahman, but your awareness can create a reality within Brahman. And your awareness is creating a reality right now. Now, this reality that I say is imaginary is created by Brahma. But you're aligned with Brahma, and you are also creating a reality. But your reality is observing the imagined reality of Brahma. That's why your imagination, that's why your awareness and my awareness sees essentially the same physical reality. The reason we see essentially the same physical reality is we are awareing, that's probably not a word, but I'm making it a word. You and I are awareing the reality that Brahma is creating. But our own individual created awareness isn't the same. My awareness is different than your awareness. I have become spiritually enlightened. Maybe you haven't yet. I see things differently than you do. The thing that is being seen isn't changing. It's our awareness of that thing that's changing. Anything in this physical reality, whatever it is experienced different by everything and everyone. A bug imagines a reality of everything differently than you and I imagine or aware the physical reality around us. It is, I'm appearing to be right now a curmudgeon. I'm appearing to be dull, boring. I'm appearing to be lost in thought. But my words are not. If I were to define to you exactly the way I feel right now, and most of the time, my words would differ greatly from what I appear before you in this camera. Because I appear to be a dullard, complacent, dull, boring, lackluster. But my words that define what I actually feel inside are something like this. I am ecstatic. I am shockingly aware of this physical reality in such a way that I'm going to be turning 70 in a couple months, and I don't want to die. I want to live because every day is just another exciting reality. Every day I gain a little more knowledge and awareness of things that are stored up as treasures in heaven. I create myself a little more like God. I find this to be excruciatingly, exhilaratingly exciting. It is fun beyond belief. Does me saying that mean that I am filthy rich? That I enjoy all the luxuries of life? That I don't have problems in my life? No. Not at all. I feel the pain and suffering of constant pain in my cervical spine that I take medication for 24 hours a day. And that pain numbs my hands. And I have to lay down several times a day with a device under my neck to gain relief. Even the pain pills I take are not sufficient. It requires my mind to try as best as possible to ignore the pain. But that's just that pain. The other issues of life with dealing with troubles and everything, I'm no different than anyone else. But that doesn't mean those issues pollute my excitement about life, about love, about my dear wife that is my best friend in this world. My wife is my friend. Does that make sense to you? My wife is my friend. We have fun. Does that mean we don't argue with each other? Absolutely not. If we didn't argue with each other, we wouldn't know who we are to each other. We are different. We have different opinions, different ideas, different ways of looking at things. But that doesn't mean we're not friends or best of friends. I now have a relationship with my adult children that is on the level of a best friend. And all of those are treasures in heaven. All of those things are what builds what I am. In other words, if you do what the preachers say and donate your money or your time and effort so that you can build up treasures in heaven, oh yeah, you're going to get treasures in heaven, but that heaven is more like a hell because you're doing those things for the wrong reasons. If you're doing it to build up treasures, I assure you, you are not going to get treasures. Because you're doing it for the wrong reason. The only way to build up treasures in heaven is if you don't give a damned about treasures in heaven. If you only do things because you love others, you love God. I like the concept of, the raked Zen garden. How they will, with great meticulous effort, swirl the lines and everything, and just with a randomness type, beautiful look, the garden, the rocks and everything. And then as soon as they get done with hours and hours and hours of work, a child runs through it and throws all the gravel all over the place, and the Zen master is looking at his work being destroyed. And he has a wonderful smile on his face. And even starts giggling at the funniness of an innocent child destroying his Zen garden. Because he gets to make it again tomorrow. And the process starts all over again. Because he didn't do it for an eternal benefit here on this physical reality. The process of making the Zen garden is the process of making the Zen garden. It's going to be destroyed by the end of the day and redone the next day. There isn't even the slightest hint of anger or frustration when the child runs through it and destroys it. Because if there is, he's doing it for the wrong reasons. And there is no benefit to doing it. You might as well quit doing it if there is a hint of frustration or anger. If you can understand that, you can understand the concept of storing up treasures in heaven. And you can start to understand what I'm talking about. And it holds true about everything. Recognize that God will give you no gifts in heaven. How can God give you a gift? How can God give you anything? God can love you, but God cannot give you anything. You have to create it yourself. And if you create things out of hatred, out of greed, out of wanting to control things and control people, that's certainly not going to put you on the path to being one with God. We are tasked on this planet, in this reality, at this time, with surviving. We live in an incredibly harsh environment where the powers of darkness are not with you if you're on my side. And the benefits of wealth, power, and money will never come to you in this physical reality. This physical reality benefits the demonic forces. They are benefiting and gaining the wealth and the power and the authority. You are not. You can, at best, pray to God. Let me give you some advice. If you want to be one with God, if you want to become enlightened, you had better ask God to protect you in this physical reality. Because if you're on your own, the evil demonic forces will torment you and take your life. And you'll be cut short. The only way you can survive in this reality, if you choose the path of being one with God, is to ask God to protect you at all times. And you have to ask constantly. And only then will the powers of God hold off, to a certain degree, the powers of demonic forces. And only if there's a reason for you to stay alive in this reality. So I can talk both ways. I can say how excited I am to live another day, and it's absolutely fun to experience things in this reality. But at the same time, I can say it's a living hell. There's a duality of awareness of reality. I live in Las Vegas, and the weather is finally, it's weird this year. It's been cold and raining, which is bizarre beyond belief. I've lived here for 16 years, and it's never been like this before. So I'm excited about the weather finally turning warm. However, I look forward to 100+ degree days are coming my way, which is not very pleasant because that's just too damn hot. Anyways, enough with my outlook on the weather and everything. Very short brief on world events and world affairs. It does certainly appear that we are living in a time that's worse than the biblical Sodom and Gomorrah days. Yeah, it's pretty bad out there. We have the demonic forces in control of all the governments of the civilized world. And it's super bad. I don't know if there's going to be a revolt of sorts to turn things around. I don't know. but it is certainly bad. And I live in the United States, and it is incredibly bad and evil in our government. Sure, there are good people in certain government positions. There might be good senators and congressmen and stuff like that. But the control structure that is in power, pure darkness and evil. And I suspect that's true in most countries of the world. So you just have to focus your efforts on your own personal spiritual growth. And I think my next video, who knows? I don't know. I don't have a topic, but I think I'm going to get back to discussing the topic of becoming enlightened. And I'm not going to discuss the topic of God enlightenment very much, because that's not something you can strive for and get. Both enlightenments are a byproduct of other things. They're not something you can strive for and get. They are a byproduct. And maybe I'll get into that. Anyways, so I'm going to end this video and let you know that I love you. I actually pray for you, all of you that watch these videos. I ask my Father in heaven, God, to bless you with insights, with paradigm shifts, with visions, revelations, knowing that none of those things are going to happen because of what I pray for, but that maybe there will be things in your path that might cause you to work towards those things. So again, I love you, and I hope the best for you throughout this week and the weekend and in the coming future. I might travel to see the eclipse in Texas, but I don't know if I want to go there. There have been 2 full eclipses in the United States in the last 40 years, and I've been to both of them. I didn't necessarily go to the first one. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. The second one, I went to Idaho 6 years ago and was standing on the top of a mountain to observe it, and it was incredibly bizarre. And I've got a friend down the street that's an avid photographer. That wants to go and wants me to go with him. He's not a spiritual person in the least degree, but he is a, shall I say, genius in many ways, in electronics and all that kind of stuff. And so I might go. I'm going to have a talk with him, though, because I'm not going to be cooped up in a vehicle with him for several days and listen to him drivel on about sex and women and stuff like that. It's just, I just can't put up with that shit. I just can't put up with that shit. But he's a good guy, so I suspect he'll keep his mouth shut. Not that I want to censor him. I'm just not interested in engaging in a conversation like that. I never have been. Anyways, with no further ado, have a good week. I love you. Bye.